Well, thanks, Dwayne and team, for having us along for the podcast today. We just wanted to touch on the model, which essentially is the system that we provide as Proclima supplier, or the Proclima system. So I'm going to just talk through, I guess, the main components. As we said, it's going to be climate specific. So you're going to check that with your climate zone on where you're building your building project. But this is your entire system that would be on probably 70% of buildings in Australia. So I'll start from the top down, is we work with what's called the Mento Plus. So this Mento Plus is a medium duty membrane. You have a light duty, medium duty and heavy duty membrane. This is a medium duty. That comes into the roofing classification for tear resistance. So that's a medium duty membrane. Then what we have on top is what's called a cavity batten. Now that's what we're talking about on the pod, about letting the buildings breathe, letting the buildings ventilate properly. So when you've got that, we'll put our batten on the top of that. Could be your metal roofing batten, your timber batten, but it gives that cavity so that air or water can get away from the building, or it can flow up to the top and create that stacking effect, the flue effect on your project. In this little model here, Mento Plus on the roof, we take that out to the fascia and drain that outside. And we've then connected, what we've got is our Solitex X Designer, which is our wall membrane down here. So that wall membrane continues up and it's taped to the underside of the Mento. And that's purely to get consistency of the entire membrane system, a continuity of airtight or weather-tight membrane. Then, as an alternative sort of option, let's say across this side, you could just wrap down your roof with your Mento, and you could connect it onto your wall membrane, tape around your rafters, and let the moisture and air draw up from your wall cavity. Because again, when we look at our wall cavity on this little model, we've got Solitex X Designer. So Solitex X Designer is our wall membrane, and that would then have a cavity on the wall, and then we have our horizontal battens. Let's say if we've got a vertical cladding type. Now, if you were talking about a weatherboard system, we would just have our wall battens straight on the wall, and then you'd get your ventilation. So that's your X Designer. So X Designer would then connect to the side. It might be to your bearer, or it might be to the side of your slab. You might stick that there with tape, or you might stick it with our liquid adhesive. Liquid adhesive purely around the concreters who might have a really aerated edge because it hasn't been vibrated, and you need something that's a bit more gets in to all the gaps and creases and crevices, so you use the liquid adhesive Orcon. Then on the window system, we have our seal tape, which is a butanol-based tape, and that's called Extaseal. Extaseal is a tape that can fold all the way around our windowsill, and it stretches around those corners so we can get a nice watertight seal. On the inside, that is our general external weather tightness system. Then on the inside, we generally had a quick chat about air tightness, which is what we call Intello, and that's more specific around passive house. Again, we have a cavity batten there purely because your plaster can't go straight onto your Intello. Otherwise, you can't glue your plaster back. You get drummy. You don't want to have your Intello end up being a pin cushion because the plasterers put screws all the way through it. So we'd put a cavity batten, and then our plaster, for example, could go straight on that. Then it also gives us a cavity so we can run our services up our walls, up our roof. Then we would connect either on the slab or onto the flooring with tape, or again, we could use Orcon liquid adhesive. So that's your general wraparound of the weather tightness and air tightness system that we provide from Proclima. Thanks.